Over the years, our kids have had a lot of illnesses. 6 kids means a lot of childhood sniffles and coughs. And when our kids weren't feeling well, it affected our entire home. Luckily, some clever guys in Brisbane have come up with the perfect solution: Rehydrate.
Rehydrate are delicious drinks that rehydrate up to 3 times faster than water alone, packed with essential electrolytes. Rehydrate is one of the few rehydration products that is safe for all ages. Stock up at Coles and be prepared whenever illness strikes. The way that you made it right with her, I sat there and I thought, this is exactly how it should be.
It's the Happy Families Podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Hello, this is Dr. Justin Coulson. I'm the author of 6 books about raising happy families, and I'm here with my wife and co-host, the wonderful Mrs. Happy Families, Kylie. Favourite segment today?
It is my favourite one too.
I'll do better tomorrow. Now, this is not a segment where we say, you nailed it this week or we failed it this week. It's not about highlighting the highs and lows, the wins and losses. It's actually about being intentional about our parenting and saying, I'll do better tomorrow because I did this thing this week and I can learn from it so that I can be a better parent next week. Sometimes we'll highlight what went well, but sometimes we won't.
Yeah, I love the concept of hope. I love that even though I didn't get things right today, I can actually learn from that experience and be better tomorrow.
So last Friday, we had an episode that is probably the podcast episode that we've received more feedback on than any other previous podcast. It was episode number 169. And Kylie, in that episode, you were you're always wonderful, but we got more feedback about this because of your vulnerability and your opening up about your experience. If you haven't heard that podcast, by the way, please go back and listen to it. It's just beautiful. And I want to share a couple of emails that came through because they're about you. Everybody loves you. Nobody writes about me. But everybody loves writing about you because you're just so great. Vanessa wrote in and said, good morning. I have had to pull over while listening to this podcast as Kylie really spoke to me through today's episode. She was driving and was so connected with what you were saying that she couldn't keep on driving. She had to pull over
Well, I'm glad you pulled over. I wouldn't want to be the cause of anyone's accidents.
So she talks about how her and her husband have been in Melbourne. They've really struggled through lockdown, accidentally came across the podcast because she tuned into a webinar when things weren't going so well and talked about just the challenges that the year has given her, feeling so stretched because of one of her kids in particular, and just said she loved it and got so much out of it. She said, I thought it was my role as a mum to be the one to fix these problems. However, after hearing Kylie's recognition that dad can be the heart that I need at the moment, I feel a weight has lifted and I'm already planning daddy-son special moments as we speak. I know my son and my husband will love it. And I think what she's really saying is that I kind of need the break. Vanessa said, I think mums will also try to fix it because we're meant to have this connection all the time. And due to this, I feel like I'm failing, but I've seen it in a different light. Vanessa just loved, you were impactful, honey. You did a great job.
Well, it was interesting. I was actually having a conversation with a friend just this morning about that episode. And as we talked through it, she just said what was really awesome about that experience was the fact that often dads don't actually initiate this kind of time with their children. And so mums usually just, like Vanessa said, we kind of feel like we're the ones who have to kind of keep the relationships together. And sometimes dad kind of missed the cues. And so she said it's really awesome that as a mum, we can actually help sometimes coach our children's dads to be able to be that, heart for their children, because sometimes they just miss it. They kind of don't see it. And it's not because they don't want to be. It's just that sometimes it doesn't actually come naturally to them.
Yeah. Well, I've enjoyed having the opportunity to do that again this week and have some of that special time with the kids because of you. I want to highlight just one more quick bit of feedback that came through as well, because once again, your impact in this podcast is really significant and it needs to be highlighted. So this one came from Lee, who said, hello, Justin and Kylie. And this, by the way, all these emails have come through to podcasts at happyfamilies.com.au. Lee says, hello, Justin and Kylie. I'm sitting in my car with tears in my eyes after listening to your podcast that you released today. As a mum, I could totally relate to how Kylie spoke about her authenticity and not being able to do the date this week due to being so stretched. And then she just gave a whole lot of personal experiences about how she's how she struggled and what her parents were able to do in her life. She just said, thank you for the podcast every morning in the week. I can't wait to hear your podcast. So Lee, we just appreciate so much that you're listening to the podcast. Thanks for taking the time to send us the email via podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au and share the way that it's impacted on you. We appreciate it so much.
It's interesting when you talk about this whole concept of being vulnerable. The conversations that you and I are having are conversations that I would have regularly with my friends. The vulnerability comes in because I don't know who's listening.
But I mean, the great thing is Lee and Vanessa and everybody else we've had a lot of feedback. It's just been so kind and so positive, and we know that. I mean, we do this podcast because we want to help you to make your family happier. We know that's why you're listening. So I want to dive into how, insights and how we're going to do better tomorrow based on what happened this week. Do you want to go first or do you want me to? I always go first, and I'm mindful of that. It should really be you first.
Well, my insight is actually almost a year old, but I'll explain why.
Right.
Christmas only comes around every 12 months, right?
Okay. Oh, I know what you're going to say. You've done something big this week.
I have. I've set up Christmas in our house, and it has been so much fun. The last few Christmases, I haven't enjoyed the process at all. And last Christmas in particular, I got really frustrated because I felt like everyone left everything up to me.
Now, I've just got to quickly jump in here and highlight that when it comes to Christmas and the Christmas setup, you don't like it when other people get involved. You won't let anybody touch the tree.
Well, I guess that was the insight I had. I was getting really, really frustrated last year because I was feeling time poor and very stretched, and I wanted everything to be a certain way, and there was no one in sight to help. And then it occurred to me that I've actually created that whole scenario.
Yeah, you have.
Because I'm so particular about how I want things. So
now, for people who don't know Kylie is an interior genius. Kylie has a gift for making spaces beautiful. And it really, like when you walk into a room that Kylie spent time in, you kind of feel like you can breathe. You feel the stress leaving your shoulders. It's just so nice. And that's what Kylie has tried to do every year for our Christmas decorations and kind of let greenery overpower our entire home. But nobody's allowed to touch anything, which means that it's a really stressful time for you.
And I've been really lucky because with the 6 girls, they all really appreciate the beauty that I create.
But they also would appreciate being allowed to help.
Well, I think they actually enjoy partly not having to. It really gives them permission to not do anything. But last year, as I kind of came to this realization that this is an area where I've kind of let them down in a way because I've been so intent on creating this beautiful space that I haven't allowed them to be a part of it. And so this year I kind of was like, how do I do this? Because I have this need to have a beautiful tree. And obviously when children get involved, it's not symmetrical. I get an eye twitch and a little bit of I really, really struggle with this. And so
#demon mum. Don't touch the tree.
Well, they don't even come near it.
No, you've taught them over the last decade or more, don't touch the tree.
Oh, don't hate me, everybody. So I have been trying to work out how I was going to utilize my insights from last year this year.
Uh-huh.
You're laughing at me. Why?
Because I know what you've decided. So I'm going to do the summary, okay?
All right.
We've got 2 trees because we've got one in the living area and one in the family room that people don't see so much. And Kylie,
you're making this sound really bad.
You have decorated the living room tree. I mean, it just looks like it belongs in one of those fancy department stores. It looks incredible. It's immaculate. And I know what you're about to say. Your insight is you're going to do better this Christmas than last Christmas because you're going to let the kids decorate the one in the family room.
Well, yes.
That nobody sees. You're so funny. So when are you going to let them do it? Do you think that they'll be too scared? Like, I'm actually genuinely, I reckon that there's going to be perfectionistic tendencies and they're going to freak out and be like, I can't do it because I can't make it look like mum's in the other room.
Oh, really? Maybe we'll have to do another episode on that.
So is that your I'll do better tomorrow? You've decided to hand over control of the Christmas tree decorating to the kids.
I have.
I'm impressed. I've been asking for you to do it for about 10 years, maybe 15 years. So I'm impressed. We've gotten there.
I have to tell you, my hands are starting to get clammy right now just thinking about it. But I'm going to do it.
Great.
Because I think it's really important.
Put Spotify Christmas playlists on and just let them go to town. Okay, have fun and don't step in over the top. Just let them do it. It'll be fine.
Another therapy session?
Nobody's going to see it, I promise. We should take some photos and put them up on the Facebook page, compare yours to the kids. Hey, let's talk about what I'm going to do better tomorrow as a result of what I learned in just a sec.
It's the Happy Families Podcast.
Are Screens Creating Tension at Home? Tweens, Teens and Screens is a webinar to guide families to healthy, safe super screen solutions. Buy it today at happyfamilies.com.au/shop.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now. My name's Dr. Justin Coulson. I'm here with my wife and co-host, Mrs. Happy Families, Kylie, and we're talking about the things that we've learned this week to help us to do better tomorrow. I have got a couple of things that I'm going to mention in brief because I can never just do one, really. The first is I am loving so Kylie came up with this idea that every single night from the 1st of December until Christmas Eve, we're going to watch a Christmas movie. And we are watching one Christmas movie every single day as a family. And it's just so much fun. I hate movies. I hate sitting around on the couch staring at the TV. And yet I just love this. The kids are so absorbed in it. And I think that we should make this an annual tradition. There are so many Christmas movies. I would not have guessed that there were 24 really great Christmas movies.
Well, I think I've been a little bit bored the last few Christmases. I just haven't really gotten into the spirit of things. And this year I just felt like we needed to revamp things. So.
Yeah. You know what I actually really want to do, though, is it makes me want to go out and do Christmas service and, drop off hampers and do kind things to people or with people or for people. It's just been really nice. So in terms of just highlights and how we can do better tomorrow, I can't wait to watch another Christmas movie tonight. It's a Wonderful Life. I'm so excited for when we get closer to Christmas Eve and we get to watch that one. It's a Christmas classic.
I think we're going to have problems with the kids wanting to watch that one. I know it's your favourite, but honestly, it's black and white.
Miracle on 34th Street and there's just so many gorgeous movies. So anyway, I just wanted to highlight that's something that we've decided to do. And we've got all the Santa Clauses and I don't
Home Alone.
I'm not going to watch all the Home Alones. I think we can. I reckon we cross 3 of them off and just watch the first one. And
the first is always the best.
Anyway, the main thing that I really wanted to highlight for I'll Do Better Tomorrow in this brief episode, which really struck me, was we did that episode a couple of weeks ago about how hormones are driving you crazy, and this week we had a hormonal episode, and you weren't doing so well, but I watched you do something magical the other night. One of the kids was really getting on your nerves. We were tired and frazzled. There was a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, heaps of stuff going on in our family and our home at the moment. And when it all started to explode or implode, you actually got really short with one of the kids. And I wanted to step in and remind you that we're supposed to have a happy family. We're supposed to be nice to each other, but I also was concerned for my safety. So I decided not to.
You're so mean to me.
No, I'm not because here's the amazing thing. You did it so well. Within about a minute of you being cranky at one of our kids, you called out to her and brought her back over and you gave her a big hug and you apologized for being cranky. You explained that you weren't actually upset with her. You're just really tired and you snapped and you shouldn't have. And the way that you made it right with her, I sat there and I thought, this is exactly how it should be. And she melted into you and she hugged you and it was just gorgeous. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if every time we as parents got it wrong, if we could just reach out to our kids and hold them and say to them, I'm sorry, I hurt you, but I really didn't mean to. I'm just not doing so great tonight. Can you give me a hug and I'll give you a kiss and we'll make it all better and I'll be better tomorrow. I'll do better tomorrow. It was just magic and I was so inspired by it.
Thanks, honey.
You're welcome. That's what I love about I'll Do Better Tomorrow. It's the goodness that we get to see in our family as we focus on the ways that we can be better as parents. So we hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Happy Families Podcast. We love getting your feedback. The email address is podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au. What we'd really love is to get a voice memo from you. record a voice memo and send that through to podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au. Let us know what you think about the podcast, what you're hearing, what it's doing for you, how it's helping your family. And we'd also love it if you jump onto Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and review, because that's how people find out about the podcast and make their families happier, just like you. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Thank you, Justin. And our executive producer is Craig Bruce. If you'd like more information about how we can make your family happier, all you need to do is go to happyfamilies.com.au.